Okay, last lecture we already covered timer and counter section. Some problems related to timer and counter, which is already mentioned in assignment number 4. I will just give the explanation of that questions. Okay, now based on the previous knowledge of timer and counter, we are just solving the numerical based on timer and counter. First example is write a program to generate a square wave of 50 Hertz frequency on particular pin number, that is 1.3, using timer 1 mode 1. That is the requirement. They want to generate a square wave of frequency 50 Hertz on specific pin number, that is 1.3, with the help of timer 1 mode 1. Okay, that is the requirement. According to that, we want to do the calculation first. Initially they are mentioning they want square wave of 50 Hertz on pin 1.3. Now square wave of 50 Hertz, that's why we are interested to calculate the desired time, and for that time period for square wave is nothing but 1 upon 50 Hertz, that is coming 20 millisecond. This is the total time for one square wave. But square wave having two parts, one is a high pulse and low pulse. Combination of these two is created the square wave. But here desired time is half of either positive cycle or negative cycle, and that's why it is 10 millisecond. Means for 10 millisecond it remain high, and for 10 millisecond it's become low, and in this fashion we are creating the square wave of 20 millisecond whose frequency is 50 Hertz. All of you agree for this point? Means our desired time is 10 millisecond. Okay, now as per our formulas we are calculating value of n. Value of n is equal to desired time upon time of one machine cycle, time period. Okay, we already know that crystal frequency is 11.0592 megahertz. According to that we are just calculating timer frequency, that is coming 921 kilohertz. All of you know that this part. Okay, and 1 upon 921 kilohertz is nothing but 1.085 microsecond. This value you know, every time you are using same value for 11.059 crystal frequency. Okay, now as per this knowledge we are calculating value of n. N is equal to desired time upon timer time period. Okay, according to that we are just writing 10 millisecond upon 1.085 microsecond. According to that we are getting the answer 9216. Okay, once you are doing this calculation your answer is 9216. Now this n value you are subtracting from the maximum value. Now you are interested in mode number 1. Mode number 1 maximum value is 4 times f. 4 times f is nothing but 65536, and that's why you are subtracting your n from maximum value, that is 65536 minus n is equal to, you are getting this answer. This decimal you are converted into the hex. Now the hex value is DC00H. Now this hex value is split into two parts. One is a lower byte and one is a higher byte. 00 is lower byte and DC is your higher byte. According to that you are just placing TH1 because you are interested in mode number timer number 1, and that's why TH1 is DC and TL1 is equal to 00H as per this calculation. All of you agree for this point? Now based on this knowledge we are just writing the code to generate the square wave on specific pin number, that is 1.3. Okay, now I will discuss the code. Initially every time we are started, origin is 4 times H, but this is the location for register banks. We are not using register bank to write the code. This is for holding the data only. Actual scratchpad is started from 0030H, and that's why we are jumping on the main label, okay, which is located at 0030H. This is a common statement for all the programs. Then main program started at 0030H, which is a starting point for scratchpad, which we are using for writing our code. Okay, main program, first we are putting T mode value. In our program we are interested in timer 1 mode 1. and according to this value, timer 1 mode 1, your value is 10, and that you are putting into the T mode register. This is your first statement, means you declare that you are interested in timer 1 mode 1 with the help of this statement. After that, you already calculated these two values, that is 00 in TL1 and DC into TH1. But DC value we can't directly place into this because it is started with a D. This is not a numerical value, it is alphabet, and that's why you are putting hash 0 DC. Means this value hash 0 DC you are putting into this, means we are writing move TH1 comma hash 0 DC. All of you agree? And what about TL1? Move TL1 comma hash 00H, because 0 is a numerical, there is no problem, directly you can place here 00. According to that, we are just writing the next statement, that is move TL1 comma hash 00H, move TH1 comma hash 0 DC, because actual value is DC but it is started with the alphabet, and that's why we are placing here 0. Okay, now you are setting all that parameters as per your problem statement. Now you just start the timer. To start the timer, you are using software way, and that's why we are writing set bit TR1. With the help of this instruction set bit TR1, you are making TR1 is equal to 1. When TR1 is equal to 1, automatically timer start, means that AND gate get closed, and clock pulses proceed to the timer section to start counting. Okay, once your timer start, you are continuously check for which bit TF, that is timer flag 1, because it is timer 1, and that's why it is TF1. You are continuously pulling, that is just jump. If no bit, suppose this bit is not set, then jump to this label, that is back, again check TF1, again back, again check TF1, means you are continuously remain in this loop till it is not become 1. When TF become 1, it indicate that given time is over, means positive cycle is over. Okay, then just clear the TR1, means just stop the timer. Clear means make this 0, TR1 is equal to 0. TR1 becomes 0, means your AND gate become open. AND gate become open means clock signal will not proceed to the timer section. All of you agree for this? After that, just complement 1.3, means initially high pulse is generated for 10 milliseconds. Now just complement 1.3, now it's become 0. Agree? Complement of this means it's become 0 now. Again clear TF1, जो set हुआ है already, just clear that flag. Again S jump, again you jump to this location. Again you want negative clock pulse for same duration, that is 10 millisecond, and for 10 millisecond your value is 00 in TL1 and DC in TH1. Again start the timer till wait. Once you start the timer, again wait till TF1 is not set, means it will set after 1 millisecond. Okay, again stop the timer, complement the pin P1.3, means again it's become high, means positive cycle created, negative pulse is created, again positive cycle, and this remain continuous. Positive cycle, negative cycle, positive cycle, negative cycle is nothing but your square wave. In this fashion you are constructed your square wave, and this is your one of the practical, that is a DC waveform generation on a DC mode, on a DAC, with the help of DAC. Okay, means in this fashion you are just generating various wave shape. Here you are generating square wave with the help of timer. Agree? Now in your assignment I given the next question, that is write the program to generate a delay of 1 millisecond using timer 0 mode 0. Timer 0 mode 0. Mode 0 is how many bit? 13 bit mode. According to that you want to do the calculation. That is your next problem statement in the assignment. Okay, now we are just solving that as per the requirement. My requirement is I want to introduce the delay of 1 millisecond using timer 0 mode 0. Okay, according to that I am just explaining now the calculation part, and then I will explain the code. Now first, all of you agree for this point? Okay, Now my time period, desired time period, that is 1 millisecond as per the problem statement. Now you are calculating the value of n. N is nothing but desired time delay upon timer time duration. Timer time duration, we know that 1.085 microsecond. That is, we are already calculated, and this is calculated for all the examples. Okay, now according to that your answer coming, that is 921. 921 is answer of this is the value for n. Now this n value you are subtracted from the maximum value, but you are interested in mode number 0. For mode number 0 is the 13-bit mode, and that's why maximum value for it is 1FFH. It is not a mode number 1. Its value is not 4 times f. It is mode 0, means 13-bit timer mode, and that's why its maximum value is 1FFH. Okay, 1FFH is converted into decimal. Its answer is 8192. 8192. This value you are this is the maximum value. Okay, now 921 is subtracted from this maximum value, that is 8192. That's why 8192 minus n, that is 921. Your answer is coming 7271. Just convert that decimal into the hex. Your answer is 1C67. Now 67 is your lower byte and 1C is your higher byte. Just place that number into the respective registers. Now you are saying timer number 0, and that's why you are calling this as timer 0 lower byte and timer 0 higher byte. Agree for this calculation? Then we will proceed for the next program. Now again, first 3 statement is common for all the programs, that is origin 00h, then s jump main. We are jumping on the main, actually main we are writing from the scratch pad, that is 0030h onwards. Okay, first we are writing desired mode selection and timer selection, that is you are interested in mode 0, timer 0, mode 0, and that's why your value is 00. First place that value into T mode register. Then you are already calculated your value, that is 1C67. 67 into the lower byte and 1C is your higher byte. Now both the numbers are started with a number, and that's why directly you are putting with the help of hash. Okay, means 67 you are putting into the TL and 1C you are putting into the TH. According to that, I am just writing here program move TL0 comma hash 67H, move TH0 comma hash 1CH. Okay, means these are the parameters as per the problem statement. Then you just start the timer. To start the timer, you are just writing set bit instruction. Now it is timer 0, and that's why TR0 you are making 1. Once it is started, you are continuously checking which bit, TF0 bit. Okay, means to cover this much time, that is after to cover this much time, you are just waiting for TF0 become 1. When TF0 is remain 0, means you remain in the loop. When this become TF0 become 1, means this condition fails. No bit. Now bit is there. Bits become 1, and that's why it fails this condition, and that's why it is coming to the next location. Now clear TR0, means TR0 become 0, means your AND gate become off, and now pulses will not reach up to the timer. Then complement the pin, that is 1.3, then clear TF0 for the next operation and S jump again. In this fashion, continuously you are generating the pulse with a delay of 1 millisecond using timer 0, mode 0. Means in this fashion you can calculate any calculation with the respective timer and respective mode. Now next problem statement I am just given in the assignment 2, that is write a program to generate a delay of 1 millisecond using timer 1, mode 2. Now mode 2 is 8-bit auto reloaded mode. 8-bit auto reloaded means in this case whatever initial value, it is only 8-bit value, and that value you are putting into the TH register. Yes, TH register is just hold that initial value and that is reloaded into the TL register, lower byte register, and which is actually working as a timer to start count introducing the delay. Okay, now your desired time is 1 millisecond. According to that, you are calculating the value of n. It is coming 921. Now in mode 2, maximum value is FF only. Its decimal value is 256 and your n is 921. But this 921 is much more than 256, and that's why we are using the external register here. That's why we are just dividing the actual total in such a fashion that it must be less than 256. Means, for example, I am just considering when I am just dividing this, that is 230 into 4. My answer is 920, but I want to generate 921 plus 1, means one more pulse is coming. Now it's become 921. In this fashion, I am just taking, this is the count in count, that is n, and into 4 I am just keeping that program for I will execute 4 times, and that's why I'm just generating 921. I will generate n is equal to 921 to generate the time delay of 1 millisecond. All of you agree for this? Means I'm just creating 320 only. I can't cross this limit. This is maximum limit 256 only. I can generate with the help of mode 2. But my count is something more than that, and that's why I am just keeping in the loop. I will execute that loop how many times? 4 times. Means 330. 230 into 4. 230 into 4 is nothing but 920, and plus 1, it's creating 921 as per our requirement, and that's why this is the initial this value we are subtracting from the maximum value, that is 256. Answer is 26. Just convert that into the hex, and that's why this value you are putting into the respective timer register. Timer 1 register, timer 1 you are interested, and that's why TL1 is equal to 1A and TH1 is equal to 00H. In this fashion, 001A you are placing into the respective timer register TL0, TL1 and TH1 respectively. Now you are done that calculation. Now you are writing the program, and during writing the program you are interested to execute one more create the loop 4 times, because you are taking we want to generate 921, and for that 330 into 4 means we want to execute this instruction 324 times, and that's why we are writing the code for maintaining the loop for 4 times. Now this is the code. In this code, this is the main program. In the main program, you are jumping to the main program. It is started from the scratch pad. Now as per the problem statement, you are interested timer 1 mode 2. According to that, your T mode value is how much? T mode value is 20H. All of you agree for this? Mode timer 1 mode 2, and that's why your value is 20H. You are putting into the T mode register. Once you place that, you are placing the counter, because you want to execute the loop that many times, that is 4 times, and that's why we are taking one register, general purpose register, to hold the counter. Okay, now this R2 is working as a counter, and value of R2 is 4, and that's why it will execute 4 times. Okay, then you are putting the value, desired value, into respective registers, timer registers, that is timer 1 higher byte 00, timer 1 lower byte 1AH as per your calculation. Now these 3 or 4 statement you are writing as per your problem, as per your calculation. Then you just start the timer 1, then just check TF1, continuously check TF1. Suppose TF1 is 0, just keep in the, remain in the loop, that is internal loop. Once you reach TF1 become 1, you are coming out of that internal loop. Decrement R2, now it's become initially a value of R2 is 0.4, now it's become 0. Decrement means now it is become 0.3. now just check it is 0 or non-zero. It is non-zero, then jump. Suppose it is non-zero value, jump to XYZ. Now I will jump to this label, that is means controller will jump to this label, that is XYZ. Again it will start the timer, again wait for time, that is 2:30. again decrement, and in this fashion this XYZ loop will execute how many times? 4 times. Once it is executed 4 times, its decrement value becomes 0.0. That time it cross that limit, it becomes 0, means it coming out of that loop. Then stop the timer, then complement the waveform, then clear the flag and S jump again. In this fashion you are generating desired time with the help of mode 2. Here you are executing this 4 times, means 230 into 4 is nothing but 920 plus 1, and that time it's become desired n, that is 921. All of you agree for this concept? Just give me a reply on the chat, and then we will proceed for the serial communication. Just give the reply. Actually the loop is executed 4 times, means 230 into 4, and when one more pulse is coming, and that time it get overflow. Maximum limit is it is moving up to FF. When one more pulse is coming, that time it get overflow and TF flag become 1. Any other difficulty? Now based on this I cover whole assignment number 4. Just solve that and submit me up to Wednesday. Any other difficulty? Just do the calculation and just solve that. Then I will proceed the next part, that is last topic from the first unit, that is a serial communication. Okay, now we want to communicate between various devices, that is we want to communicate data between the controller and various peripherals. We know that surrounding to the controller there is a number of peripherals we are interfacing. Okay, and we want to communicate between the two devices. Okay, between master. Now one is working as a master, means in our case controller is working as a master and peripherals are working as a slave. Okay, now we are transferring our data between one device to other devices with the help of communication technique. Normally in communication technique there are 2 ways. First one is a parallel communication and second one is a serial communication. Through the port structure we already know that we are sending data from controller to peripheral, input device or output device or memory through the port structure, and port having 8 pins, and that's why 8 pins are sending 8-bit data at a time. All of you know that. Okay, now in parallel communication the two devices are connected through the number of wires. Means in suppose our controller is 8-bit controller, 8 pins are there, that is from D0 to D7 between the two devices. Suppose your controller is 16-bit controller, 16 pins are there from D0 to D15. Suppose your controller is 32-bit controller, that time 32 pins are there between the two devices. Suppose your controller is 64-bit controller, 64 pins are available between the two devices. Means at a time 64 bits are moving from one location to other, or one device to other devices, and that's why speed is more, because at a time that many bits are moving from one device to other, and that's why speed is maximum. But problem with the parallel communication is, in parallel communication speed is maximum because at a time bits are moving. We all of you agree for that. But drawback of parallel communication is that many wires you are connecting between the two devices. Okay, means 64 wires, 32 wires, 16 wires, 8 wires between the two devices you are connecting. Means cost is more, because that many wires you are physically connecting between the two devices. Cost is more, complexity is more. Similar way, probability of noise in degrading the message, that is also possible, and that's why we are just going for the other technique, that is the serial communication. Means suppose your two devices are far away from each other, means one peripheral and master are far away from each other. In that case you must connect the long wires, and that many wires you must connect it between the two devices, means 8 wires, 16 wires, 32 wires, like that, and that is costly. Maintenance is difficult, system become more complex, probability of noise degradation of the message is also possible. All these are the problem with the parallel communication. But advantage of parallel communication is speed is maximum because at a time that many bits are moving from one device to other. Okay, and that's why this is a one way for communication, that is parallel communication, and second way for communication is the serial communication. In serial communication there is only one wire for transmission and one wire for reception. Means whole data is moving from one device to other with the help of only two wires. One is for transmission purpose and one for reception purpose. In this fashion, with the help of two wires you can transmit the data between the two devices. Okay, so suppose your devices are far away from each other, then also you can transfer your data from one device to other with the help of two wires only, and that's why cost is reduced, complexity reduced, as well as maintenance reduced, because there are only two wires, and with the help of two wires you can connect the device which are far away from each other also, that is also possible. Okay, and it is economical, and that's why we are going for serial communication. But drawback of serial communication is it is slow in speed, because all 8 bits, all 16 bits, all 32 bits, all 64 bits are not moving at a time. Only one bit is moving from one device to other at a time, and that's why it takes much more time to transfer your data from one device to other. Data fully transfer from one device to other, that is no issue, but it takes much more time, because all 64 bits, all 8 bits, all 16 bits are not moving at a time. One by one bit will move from one device to other, and that's why speed is less. That is the drawback of serial communication. Okay, now we are concentrating on serial communication. That's why we will discuss various methods for serial communication. That is there are various types are there, that is simplex, half duplex and full duplex. Simplex means your data is always moving from transmitter to receiver. For example, radio, TV, all these are your simplex fashion. Means always input is coming from the transmitter and it is coming to the our receiver. Okay, then half duplex, that is either each device having both, performing both the role, transmission as well as receiver, both are performing same thing, but at a time only one is working. Suppose first device is working as a transmitter, other device is working as a receiver. Okay, suppose first device is working in acting in the receiver form, that time second device working in a transmit form. Means for example walkie-talkie, either you are performing one action, then other is performing other. Okay, when first part is over, then only second role will execute. And full last method is your full duplex. In this case, you can both the device having transmitter as well as receiver, anytime any role played by the device. Means for example our mobile phone. Okay, anytime we can talk, anytime we can listen. Means we are performing both the tasks simultaneously. We are talking as well as we are listening. Means we are performing both actions simultaneously. All of you agree for this? Example of simplex is the TV or radio. Okay, every time input is coming from the station on the respective receiver section. Okay, half duplex means either it is working as a transmitter or receiver, for example walkie-talkie. And full duplex means either it is at a time both the actions will execute, such as your mobile phone. Okay, then next, again in serial communication having two modes. One is a synchronous mode and second one is asynchronous mode. Synchronous mode means the synchronization between the two devices executed here with the help of same clock cycle. Okay, now the clock cycle generated by particular device, that device is working as a master, and other device which is just following the clock generated by master, that device is working as a slave. Means here the two devices, out of that one device working as a master which is generating the clock pulse, and on the same clock pulse second device will give response, and that device working as a slave. Means you are connecting in master slave configuration, and through once you are declaring this, once your clock gets set, then get synchronized, then your actual data get transferred from one device to other in form of blocks. Okay, in this fashion both having same, following the same clock cycle, that is synchronous. In asynchronous, you are not sending whole block of data, you are sending character oriented transmission. Here when you want to transmit your data, that time you are not sending directly, you are just converting data into the package. You are just following some specific, agree for specific rules, you are just following some protocols, and then you are just converting data into the package by adding start bit and stop bit, and then actual frame. Once you have converted data into the frame by adding start bit and stop bit, because asynchronous means you can send anytime. Okay, and for that you must convert data into the package by adding start bit and stop bit. Means frame is constructed, and then that frame is transmitted from one device to other device. Okay, now this data framing structure. Now this, suppose your data is A, that you want to transmit a character A from one device to other. Now value of ASCII value of A is nothing but this number. Okay, now this value all directly is not passed, it is just this data first converted into the package. If this data is converted into the package, and that's why you are just adding start bit and stop bit to this data. Okay, now in normal data framing, there is only one start bit and two stop bit, one or two stop bit as per our choice. Means suppose you are placing, always start bit is always one, and stop bit is, suppose there are two options, either one stop bit or two stop bit. Suppose you are interested in one stop bit. Okay, one start bit, one stop bit, and 8-bit data. Means actual frame size become 10. 8 data bits, one start bit, one stop bit. Total bit frame size become 10 bit. Okay, suppose you are saying that there is one start bit and two stop bit. In that situation, one start and two stop bit means total 3 bits are there, and 8 data bits means total package size become 11 bits. In this fashion, you have just converted data into the package by adding start bit and stop bit. Now start bit is always low. Initially your line is masked, that is high level. When you want to start, just low signal is applied on that pin, then it is indicating as a start bit. and when it's become high, that indicating the high stop bit. In this fashion, now my requirement is I want to transmit ASCII value of A from one device to other. The ASCII value of A is nothing but 441, and that's why your number is 01000001. That is nothing but your 41. 41 is the ASCII value of A, means your A character is moving from one device to other. Now this data is converted into the package, and that's why I am just adding here one start bit, that is 0. Then I am sending this number. Now here again we are sending from the LSB to MSB, means 1 0 0 0, then 0 0 1 0, and then stop it. In this fashion, whole data you are placing with the with LSB first. Okay, start bit LSB first up to MSB, and then stop it. Okay, now this is your package of 10 bit. Suppose you want a package of 11 bit, and that time there are 2 stop bit. That is only difference. Okay, means in this fashion, data directly you are not sending from one device to other. You are sending the data by converting data into the package by adding start bit and stop bit. There is always one start bit and one or 2 stop bit as per our choice. In this fashion, we are constructed data into the package of 10 bits or 11 bits. All of you agree for this concept, data framing? Just go through that. Okay, now we want to transmit your data, and that's why we are just converting data into the package. Now once it is converted into the package, that package placed into the S buffer register, that is the serial buffer register. Okay, then you are transmitting the data. Not all bits are moving at a time, because there is only one wire for transmission, and for reception also there is only one wire, that is RX pin. Okay, means through TX pin you are transmitting one by one. There is the package of either 10 bit or 11 bits, but these bits are moving from one device to other by specific data rate. Okay, and that rate is called as a rate of data transfer in serial communication is called as a BPS, bits per second. Other name is a baud rate. Okay, now our PC, IBM PC, having different options, different baud rates it is providing, such as 1200 baud rate, 2400, 9800, 9600, like that. Okay, in this fashion there are different options are there for serial communication, and that is provided through the UART, that is universal asynchronous transmission receiver. Okay, with the help of this you can set desired baud rate as per your requirement. There are different options are there. You can choose a desired option as per your requirement. Means for example, suppose you want to transmit data from one office to other office. One office is the main office and other is sub branch. Suppose one office is in Delhi and one is in Bombay. That time you want to transmit your data from one device to other. In that situation you are setting the baud rate. Means normally during working hour your baud rate is maximum. During evening time baud rate is something low, and at the night time baud rate is less. In this fashion you can set the baud rate as per your requirement. Okay, you can choose any baud rate as per your choice. Okay, different options are there. You just choose as per your choice, just place, and according to that write the code. Okay, now next point is you are interested for to do that calculation, baud rate calculations. Okay, main criteria for UART communication is baud rate. Okay, both devices, transmitter and RX and TX, should set to the same baud rate, must be follow the same baud rate. What is the rate for transmission? Same rate the other device must be receive the data. Okay, Now for baud rate calculation, 8051 timer 1 we are using, and we are using in auto reloaded mode. Auto reloaded mode means mode number 2. Okay, means once you are setting your time is 9600, you are interested in specific time 9600, all bits must be with the same baud rate. Means this is one of the application of mode number 2. For already during timer or counter mode 0, it's a 13-bit timer mode. Mode 1 is 16-bit timer mode. The application, I am just given example of different time you are setting. For example, microwave oven, washing machine, etc. Mode number 2, I am saying that you are using for serial communication. In serial communication, once you set the baud rate, every character must be passed with the same baud rate. Suppose you are setting your baud rate during working hours, means from 10 to 6, your baud rate must be 9600, means whole data, all the data during this duration must be passed with the same baud rate as a 9600. It will not vary. Sometime it is 9600, it's, and sometime it is 2400, sometime it is 1200, like that. It must be fixed to particular baud rate. Okay, and that's why we are just going for the auto reloaded. We are not every time doing that calculation. Once you are doing that calculation and you are putting into the auto reloaded mode. Okay, now we know that crystal frequency, that is crystal frequency is divided by 12, and that frequency is called as a machine clock. The different naming is here in the serial communication. Divided by 12 is called as a machine clock, and one that is M clock. Then timer clock is again divided by 32, because it is serial communication, it is a very slow speed, and that's why again you are dividing that factor by 32 again, and to generate the timer clock. In this fashion, crystal frequency is 11.0592 megahertz, that is divided by 12. Your machine cycle frequency is coming 921.6 kilohertz. Again you want to reduce the frequency, and that's why we are just dividing by 32 for UART. Okay, now UART frequency is 28800 hertz. After dividing 921.6 kilohertz divided by 32, its answer is 28800 hertz. Okay, now this is the time for timer 1 to set the baud rate. But I don't want this baud rate, I want other baud rate. In that case, again I am just doing that calculation. All of you agree for this concept? Basic calculation, crystal frequency divided by 12, that is machine clock frequency, and machine clock frequency divided by 32. Again we want to reduce the frequency, and we are generating timer frequency, and it is coming 28.8 kilohertz. All of you agree for this point? Then we can construct, there are different baud rate possibilities are there, and we can develop from this basic frequency. Basic frequency is 28.8 kilohertz. From this we can develop different desired baud rate. Now these are the different baud rates, and we can generate the baud rate as per our choice. Now how to do that? And for that, just see the next slide. Now before that, we just recall that mode 2. Mode 2, we know that mode 2 is a 8-bit auto reloaded. Once you are just doing that calculation, just put the value into the auto reloaded. For example, suppose my demand is baud rate is 9600. According to that, I will just calculate the value, and I will place that value here. Okay, and then I'm just starting the timer. Then this value is reloaded into the TLX. X is either 0 or 1. Okay, then it is just start counting from that initial value to the maximum value. Maximum value for this is 8-bit. That's why it is reach up to the FF. When it is cross that limit, it get overflow. One more pulse is coming, it cross that limit, and that time it get overflow. It will set this flag, and it is auto reloaded. Again that initial value placed here means second character again sent with the same baud rate, that is 9600. Once all 8 bits are out, that time again it is reloaded. Again next characters again shift with the same baud rate. In this fashion, once you set the baud rate, it is holded by THX. Okay, and that is every time it is reloaded here, and it is timer start, and in this fashion every character is shifted from one device to other with the same baud rate. All of you agree for this point? Okay, then next example. Now we know that crystal frequency of our practical kit is 11.0592 megahertz. Then find the value which you want to calculate for TH1, that is initial value. Okay, that initial value as per the baud rate. First time baud rate I want 9600, second time I want baud rate 1200, third time I want to change the baud rate as 4800. As per this requirement, I will just calculate TH1 value, and every time I will just replace that value in the program to run the serial communication with specific baud rate. Now we are doing this one by one. Okay, now first find TH1 value needed to set the baud rate at 9600. Okay, now we know that crystal frequency is 11.0592, then machine clock is divided by 12 is coming 921.6 kilohertz. Then timer clock is divided is equal to machine clock upon 32, it's coming 28.8 kilohertz. Then from this basic frequency you want to generate 9600, and that's why I'm just dividing this is the basic timer frequency, that is 28800 divided by 3 is nothing but 9600 divided by 3, and that's why we are placing here -3. Okay, that's why it is converted into the hex, it is coming FD. Now this FD value we are putting into the TH1. Okay, then FD, then FE, then FD your initial value, that is loaded into the TL1. Then when you start the timer, it's become FE, then FF. It cross that limit, again it's become 00. Not 00, again it is FD because it is auto reloaded. It will not go to the 00. It is initial value is every time FD. In this fashion we are generating the baud rate of 9600 by dividing it. It is coming by dividing by 3, and that's why it is answer is FD. Similar way, suppose I am interested in baud rate 1200. Basic baud rate we know that 28.8 kilohertz divided by 24, answer is 1200, and that's why you are dividing by 24, that is -24, and it's converted into hex, it's coming E8. This E8 you are placing into the respective higher byte of timer, that is TH1. When E8 you are placing into TH1, it is reloaded into TL1. Now when you start the timer, it is just incremented one by one, E8, E9, EA, EB, EC, like that up to FF. Once it is one more compulse is coming, it get overflow, and in this fashion you are getting the baud rate of 1200. Then third example is 4800 baud rate I want. Okay, now I am just doing the same thing here, that is crystal frequency divided by 12. I am generating the machine clock frequency. Then from machine clock frequency I am just generating the timer clock frequency by dividing 32. Our basic timer frequency is 28.8 kilohertz. Okay, I don't want this 28.8 kilohertz. I am interested in 4800 baud rate, and that's why I am subtracting by 6, and that's why I am just getting the answer 4800 baud rate. The 6 is split converted into the hex, -6 is converted into hex, it's coming is FA. Okay, means FA value you are putting into the TH1. Okay, once you are placing into TH1 and you start the timer, TH1 value is passed into the TL1, then it is incremented every time, means FA, FB, FC, FD up to FF. When one more pulse is coming, it get overflow. In this fashion we are generating the baud rate of 4800. The next register is S buffer register. Okay, now we know that in serial communication, all data, all byte is not moving at a time. Okay, first you are converting data into the package by adding start bit and stop bit. Okay, now that data you are placing somewhere, and for that there is one specific register to support the serial communication, and that is called as the S buffer register. Okay, this register hold the data which you want to transmit. Okay, then that data is transmitted through the TX pin. Okay, means whatever data you want to transmit, first place into the S buffer. Okay, then it is transmitted one by one through TX pin as per the baud rate you set. Okay, similar way, suppose your device is in receiver mode, that time one by one bits are coming through the RX pin. Okay, now all 8 bits are not coming at a time because there is only one wire, and that's why one by one bit is coming, and that is placed somewhere. Okay, because we don't our controller is not operating on a bit, it is operating on a byte, and that's why all 8 bits are taken inside first, and then you are informing controller that is new byte is entered, please read it. All of you agree for this? In this fashion, all the data is taken one by one through the RX pin and hold somewhere, and that register is called as a S buffer register. Means suppose my controller is working in a transmit mode, that time S buffer hold the data which you want to transmit, and suppose my controller is in a receiver mode, that time data is one by one bits are taken from the peripheral. For example, memory, here suppose memory write operation you want, means the data which you want to write into the memory first place into the S buffer, then through TX pin one by one bits is out as per the baud rate. Similar way, suppose you want to perform other operation, that is a read operation, means in that case my controller is in which mode? Receiver mode, and memory is in a transmit mode. Yes, during that time the data is coming from memory to the controller on which pin? RX pin. Okay, but all 8 bits are not coming at a time, one by one bits are coming, and that is hold somewhere, and that register is called as a S buffer to hold the whole bits. Okay, and then when all 8 bits are entered, then it is just informing the controller that is whole byte is entered, please read it. In this fashion, whole byte is passed to the controller for the next action. Okay, now according to that, I am just giving some example here. My requirement is I want to transfer D, character D. Now ASCII value for D is 44, ASCII value for A is 41, B के लिए 42, C के लिए 43, D के लिए 44. Yes, just go through that ASCII code value, ASCII value of each letter. Now value for D is 44. Now this 44 is placed into the S buffer. Once it is placed into the S buffer, this S buffer just convert that data into the package as per as per your setting. Okay, means it is converted that data 8-bit data into the 10-bit package or 11-bit package as per your program's demand. Okay, then this data hold into the S buffer, and that's why we are just writing the instruction move S buffer comma hash in single quote. I am just writing here D, means you are not taking directly D as a number, you are taking ASCII value of D. Then next one is, suppose I want to copy accumulator into the S buffer. That is my requirement. I want to transfer data from accumulator into the S buffer. That time I will just write the instruction move S buffer comma A. Means जो भी data it is available in accumulator, that is pulled into the placed into the copied into the destination location, and at the destination location what is that? S buffer. Similar way, copy S buffer into accumulator. Means data of S buffer you are copied into the accumulator. Means S buffer is at source location and A is the accumulator. Okay, actually with the help of this much theory knowledge, we are just and doing that calculation part, we are just writing the different program, and during next lecture we will cover that part.